All right, so let's go over a couple chords. If you know these chords, you can give me a thumbs up. If you don't know these chords, go like this, and then I'll show you how to play them. All right, but we have an E minor chord. All right, C major chord. All right, A minor. Good, G major. And D major. Okay, cool. So these 5 chords we can actually use to create all kinds of music with these 5 chords. And you can say, well, 5 chords doesn't seem to be a lot. But if you look at a lot of very popular songs, they only use normally about 3 chords, sometimes 4, and sometimes 2. So we can pick 2 of these chords. And let's do this one. I want to pick these 2 first because I think I really like the way these 2 sound together. And the first one is C major. So let's play the C major first. Now we have this nice C major, sounds pretty good, but I want to take it somewhere that we probably haven't taken it before, which is to this E minor chord. Now that's like a big shift in the sound, but it's like, to me, I feel like it's very emotionally impactful. We go from the C. That change is like connects, but it's like very different, you know? So it's like this big leap in a sound, right? So now we have these 2 chords, and we can do something with that. Now we can mix and match what we do. We can strum the chords like I've been doing. Or we could pick the notes out of the chords. So, or we can even kind of mix and match that. Like we can strum a little bit. So now that's cool. We have like this cool little thing going on here, and we can change the rhythm. You know, like we when we're counting rhythm, at least in the seminars, we're usually counting to 4, right? It's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? We could change the counting to 3. Sounds kind of weird, right? Like 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 3 and 1 2 3 and 1 2 and 3 and 1 2 and 3 and 1 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 Now, by doing that, now we've changed totally how these two chords work with each other, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, and 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Pretty interesting, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So now we kind of come to this place where we have now with these two chords, we kind of have like an unlimited amount of stuff we could do just by changing the way we count it. We could do 4 or 3, or we could even do both. We could go like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now that gets a little funky. When we start splitting that, that would actually be, what's 4 plus 3? That's right. 4 plus 3 is, boom, becomes 7. I messed it up. All right, 7. So that would technically be called 7 time. Like we're playing in 7 instead of playing in 4 or 3. All right. Sometimes we could call 3. We could even call it 6. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. But there is a difference between playing that 6 and a 3. Like 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Has a different feel to it than when we play it in 6. When we play it in 6, it kind of has a different kind of flow to it than if we're playing 3. Right? Like 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. See the difference? 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2, 3 and. Well, if we play 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's cool. So we have this C major, E minor thing, and I kind of like this 6 thing. You want to keep this 6 thing? So let's keep it in 6 for now, just because now we're kind of changing this whole thing around. We got our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we kind of got a nice little starting point. We could pick it too. So if we pick it, we can do this. We're going to go down 3 and then up 3. Okay, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's cool. We got that going on. So let's say we stay with the strumming pattern, but we can switch it back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So C major, E minor. Now, how's that chord change? Is that a little difficult, or is that pretty good to do? Okay. All right, cool. So now we have these two chords, and let's say there's some singing over that. Maybe you decide to put some lyrics over that. Well, we got to go somewhere with that. And remember, we still have 3 other chords we can use out of the 5 that we talked about. Now, and this is where experimenting comes in, right? So let's experiment. We still have a G chord, we have a D chord, and we have an A minor chord that we can use. So let's pick one of those chords to change to after these 2 chords, and let's see what it's going to sound like. And we could try all 3 and then decide which one do we like the best, at least for the song we're doing. All right? So E minor. Now I'm going to try A minor. A minor. Okay, so that's what the A minor sounds like. Try that again. Okay, now we could let's try the D this time. Okay, I like that one too. I think they're both pretty good. Well, let's try the G. Let's see what happens with G. So out of those 3, and now there's no wrong answer here. There's no wrong answer. It's up to you to decide which one is the best chord, at least in your mind, what you think should go next. So which chord do you think is next? A minor? Watch. Well, let's listen to it. So we have A minor. That was the A minor one. Let's try the D. That was the D. Okay, and now let's try the G. Here comes G. Right, now remember, there's no wrong answer. So if you say G, we go to it, that's going to be our next part. And there's nothing wrong with that. So, okay, so let's pick G as the first chord of the next part. So we have our G. But I don't think that's enough. Right? So let's try that. We'll go C, E minor to G, and then see where the G should take us after that. So I tried the D major and the E minor. Which one seemed to work better, right? So we went C, E, now G, D, G, E. That D chord. All right, so let's say let's try it. So we go G. Look at that. What if we did G, D, 2, E? But we're going to shorten that D. Let's say we cut the D in half. So we only do 1, 2, 3. And then we go back to that E and do 4, 5, 6 on the E. So we have our G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that sounds pretty good. And that E part that I threw in there, I kind of did that by accident. So it's like a happy little accident, you know? Like, hey, look at that. We put that E there by accident, and boom, it actually worked. So now we have our, yeah, it sounds good. So now we can actually, let's do something with that. Now we have this new part, G, D, E. And the same rule, we can strum the chord, pick a couple of notes, but we just want to keep where we're changing the chord the same, right? So if we keep in mind that we're counting to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And look at that. That actually worked really well to go back into our first part. So this is our second part going back to the first part we were doing. So we have G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Back to that first part. So hey, that worked pretty well. So let's do that. Let's do that together. Let's go the C, E, back and forth, switching those two chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, Alright, so this is the last time we're going to do it. We're going to switch that G after this E here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. G, Now I messed up and I played a wrong chord there, and I played a C instead of that E. But it gave me an idea. We can actually do our bridge later on, and the bridge it's a new part of the song that comes up later on where things kind of change. The song changes to something different. Like you have your first part, your second part, and it kind of repeats those parts. Then there's this new part that comes up later in the song. You go, oh, well, that was different, but hey, that was cool. That part's called the bridge. And we can actually use what I just did there by accident to kind of come up with a new third part that we could use for the end of the song. Look at this. We're like 20 minutes in. We're almost done with the whole song. How crazy is that? So now we have our C. Now, if you want to come up with melodies, you have to know what scale to use. Now, a scale is just a series of notes that go higher and lower. But if you don't know the scale, or what scale to play, or where the scale is, it's going to be very hard to come up with those parts. But you always want to focus, when you're writing a song, you always want to focus on the chords first and the melodies later, right? Unless you came up with a melody and you don't know the chords. Like I could come up with a melody right now. And I go, okay, well, what chords would actually fit over that melody? And I have to actually figure that out. But I always feel it's easier to do your chords, right? Come up with your chords, then find a rhythm that works, that you want, that you like to go with those chords, right? Like, and then after you have that down, you have your rhythm, you have your chord changes, then you can start coming up with a melody. Once you've decided, okay, well, you know what, I'm playing here, so this is the scale I can use, and I can go. So let's see, we have our first part. That's C to E. Okay, and then we have our second part, which is that G, D, E part. And then we were talking about our bridge later on, right? But the bridge, which comes in later on. So what we could do is now we at least have two parts. So let's look at, before we go into that bridge part and figure that out, let's go back. We could start the song off with just this chord, the C. Or we can use that C chord and that E minor chord to create an intro that brings us to that, right? Like we could do that little picking thing in the beginning. Our next part. New part. Cool. All right, so now we got those two parts and we have an intro. We have an intro. Now remember, we're just playing a very simple rhythm. If we want to, we could always change the rhythm, make it, different. Maybe we can do a lot of different things to the rhythm that we're not doing right now. And the only reason why we're not doing that with the rhythm is to just kind of make it easier, to simplify it a little bit, right? We don't want to go too crazy into it right now because, like, I can go like... But, and that sounds cool, but just to make it easy, let's keep the rhythm simple for now. And then if you want, you can always take this rhythm and, rip it apart and put it back together as something totally different. Okay? So you're always welcome to do that. You know, even if you want to just go, we're doing in 6, if you want to just add one more, make it 7, it'll sound probably a little strange, but it'll be really cool. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a little weird. I think I messed it up at the end, but that's all right. So just keep that in mind. We're just doing very simple rhythms. We can always make it. We can always change it around. And then we have our second part. So now we could take a moment and go, Now, if you write lyrics, if you want to write lyrics or sing along to the song, right? This is a moment where you go, okay, what is this? How is this making me feel? What is this music making me feel like right now? And that emotion that you're getting from it, and there's no wrong answer. There's never a wrong answer to this. You can play this thing and go, that's how I feel when I eat spicy food without knowing that it was going to be spicy, right? You ever have that happen? You eat spicy food, you didn't expect it, you're like, oh! Maybe that's how this, I don't know, or maybe this reminds you of like, I don't know, going to Great Adventure. You go, yeah, that's how I feel when I go to Great Adventure. That's it, that sound. So it's whatever you want it to be, right? There's no wrong answer in that. That's the great thing about music, is that when it comes time for you to decide how the music makes you feel, you are never wrong. You're always going to be right, because it's an opinion. And your opinion about how something makes you feel is your opinion. It's beautiful. So then you can say, okay, you know what? I want to make some lyrics up to this. I want to sing along. I want to sing something to this music. And I got an idea. So now we got our 3 parts: the beginning, our intro, the first part, and then the third part. So this part I like to call the verse. Right? That sounds like that's the part that you would actually just kind of tell a story over. Right? So that's kind of like the verse part. You have your intro. Then you have your verse. And then we go into what I would call the chorus. And the chorus part is usually the part where you kind of repeat the same few lines over and over again. And then there's like another person singing, or the same person doing a second set of vocals, kind of matching what they're doing, or playing, like singing a similar line over it. Like a person's going, bum, 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 and the other guy's like, bum, 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 bum. So they play it together and it goes like, you know, although I'm only one voice, so I'm doing it on the guitar, like, and you get like this really cool effect with the 2 voices. You've heard that before, right? Yeah, that's called a harmony. So that's just when you take a couple notes or one note, and we get this nice little combo of notes together. Chords are harmonies, but when we're talking about like a vocal harmony, it's like 2 voices singing the same thing but with different notes. So it creates this nice cool sound. So normally they do that in a chorus. So now we have our verse and our chorus. there's got to be more to this song, right? I feel like there's something else. So let's try this bridge thing. And I think when I played that C after the D, it kind of worked as like a bridge. Instead of like you expect it to go to E because that's what it's been doing in the song, but we hit the C instead. And it's like, what happened? Something changed. And we can use that familiar chord, but in a different spot as a way to kind of lead us into a new part. So we have... And now, here's something we haven't done yet. We haven't used the A minor chord. Now, we can use it, but we don't have to. So we could try it out and see if it works, or we could try something different. So let's see. We have our G, D, C. Maybe that A minor works. Let's see. Let's try it again. Okay, so we can, all right, so now this is where things are, I'm kind of coming up with something here, but we can always switch this around. Remember, there's no rules, right? We're just taking these 5 chords and we're kind of just using them. We can always change anything whenever we want and say, you know what, forget that. But normally, what I would do is I would use this C chord and use that as the beginning of the next part. But now I'm thinking that we can just use that to switch to the next part. Like we use that C chord as like a little, like a hinge, like a door hinge to swing over to this next part. And then boom, we don't even need to use the C chord anymore. So we'll go. And now this time we're going to go that C. And then we hit that A. I think A, that sounds pretty good, right? What do you think? I think that works. So we'll go from that C chord, and then we go to A minor, and that's going to really bring us to our new part, the bridge part. And we're going to use that A minor, and what I was playing was D to G after that. So I was playing A minor. And it's almost like the chorus. It's very similar to the chorus as a rhythm. It's just a little different, and because the chords are in a different order, it definitely sounds different. But it's similar to the chorus, right? So we have our A minor to D, G. Now, here's the scary thing, because now we've been playing this thing, and we got this bridge now, and that seems to work. But is it going to bring us home afterwards? Like if we go to the chorus or back to the verse part again, is it going to sound good to go there? Because if it doesn't work, then you know, throw it in the garbage and come up with something. Right, exactly. We can't really, I mean, maybe we could use this bridge as the outro of the song to end the song. If it doesn't work, maybe we could use that, or maybe it does work. So there's a lot of things we could do with this part here. We can now use this and just kind of end it there, which kind of seems a little weird because of how the song was going before that. Or we could try to see if it goes back to our verse again, right? So it would be like A, that seemed like it worked. Right? Yeah. It seemed like it worked. So I think we got a winner here with a bridge going back to our verse, which, hey, that's cool. And then maybe our intro could be the outro of the song. Like the outro is like the ending of the song, right? Which I've been told by so many people over the years that the hardest part of the song to write is the end. And I'm like, oh. I never agreed with that, but I understand why people have a hard time writing the ending of a song. And when you're writing a song and you really like the song, it's hard to stop. You know, you're having fun. You're like, oh man, I wrote this song. It's awesome. I love it. This is the best song ever. It's going to be the greatest song in the history of the universe. But I can't stop playing it now. And I have to write an ending. But for me, I never felt that way. I always felt like the ending is like the part that really, like that, you know, you want to give that ending, put that ending there to go, okay, it's done. We can move on. And what's cool is that in the bands I've been in over the years, we've always had endings to songs. If you ever notice, like if you listen to songs, you notice that some songs, they start to get quieter and quieter, and then they all of a sudden the song's over. It never actually ended. They just kind of started to turn the volume down, right? So that's called a fade out. Those kinds of endings are called fade outs. And it may work in the studio and it may sound good when you're listening to it, but you imagine those guys doing that live, right? They're like, okay, guys, we're going to do our fade out to end the song. Live. Maybe you could do it. Yeah, it's kind of corny. Yeah, you want to, especially with a song that fades out, like if you record a song, and you do the fade out on the recording, you want to have a big ending for that song then, when you do it live, because no one's going to know how the song actually ends now. So it's going to end. It has to have an ending. So if we do this, I don't know, something like that, right? Maybe that wasn't that good. We'll figure out a better one. Yeah, we'll figure out a better one. But we could use this. Maybe the intro could now be the outro. We have our. Yeah, that's not bad, right? So we could do that as the outro, is just play that intro and then just kind of end it. And it kind of just like, wasn't like an in-your-face ending like the... Although that one actually kind of worked better than the last time I tried, right? That's a pretty good one. All right. So now we got a problem. Oh boy. See, this is the problem these guys run into. See, I was just talking about it like, oh, I don't have that problem, but now we have a problem. Which ending do we use? The first one, the one that just kind of goes bump, like that. All right. So let's see. Now, let's check out our song. We have our intro. And then our verse. And then our chorus. Verse. now we're going to go to our bridge. Back to our verse. Then our outro. Nice, that was good. All right, and that'll be our song. Look at that. Right, now of course, what we just played is a super short version of it because there's no words. Now what's gonna fill it in is words, putting the lyrics to it. Right, that's what's gonna really fill the song in. Because I think that song was probably like, what we just played was like a minute, maybe 2 minutes of music. So now it's up to you. Take that music, put some words to it if you want. But if you're not sure how to do that or what else you could do, there is something we can start doing, right? Which is learning how to play scales, right? And when I was talking about that, I said it's just a scale is just it's a group of notes that you play that go higher and lower. Right? And we can use one of these scales to kind of play something over that. So if we're playing or whatever, right? So we can get into doing scales another time. But, and then we'll go over a scale that would work for these 5 chords. There's about 3 that we could get away with using, but we'll do 2 of them at first. There's 2 that we'll use. But for these 5 chords, E minor, G, C, A minor, and D. So we ended up using all 5 of these chords, and man, you see how well these chords work together? They're like unified, you know? I love it. So even though all these chords sound so different from each other, man, they really work together. They're like a family, right? You know, your family all works together. You know, but these chords, they work really well together. And when you start learning some songs, learning how to play songs, you start to realize these chords are in so many songs. And we used 5 of them, and a lot of songs will only use 3. All right, cool. So have some fun with that, and let's see what other stuff you can come up with. If you come up with lyrics for it, that'd be amazing too. All right? All right, good job. Hey guys, thanks for watching this. Don't forget, if you like this video and found it helpful, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you can stay updated on all the videos that come out.